and here at Kentucky, that's this is crucial for us to run well here on a mile and a half and follow up what we did at Sonoma with a great run on an oval. And today went really well. We had a good day. It's been a good week, and very, very happy with the car, and hopefully we can follow that up in qualifying.
Okay, we'll take questions now for Jeff. If you everyone raise your hand, we'll start right here with Gary. Get the mic over here to my man Gary Graves, and then to Chase.
Gary Graves, Associated Press. Jeff, can you recall any other point in your career where you've had this kind of urgency, where you've just been kind of, I don't want to say frustrated, but you just wonder what's going on, when are things going to fall into place?
Last year. This is pretty familiar to us. I mean, maybe not quite at this level, but I think we were further back, than 10th at this point last year than we are now. So obviously last year things didn't go so well. I would point out this year and then 2000. Those are some years that stand out to me. There was one year we didn't win a race, but I thought that year that we didn't win a race, we actually had several shots at winning races, and we finished second quite a few times. So wasn't quite dealing with some of the things that we have this year. It's certainly been frustrating. I think that this team, the way I look at our team is that we have high expectations put on us. We know the pressure, that comes along with that to perform, and when we don't, the criticism comes with that. But I also know that our team, nobody's more capable of pulling ourselves out of a hole and getting back on track than this team. I mean, it's Hendrick Motorsports. It's the 24 team, and we have the capability of being very, very strong and getting on a roll. So, you just never give up. You never lose faith in one another, and we lost a little confidence in ourselves with some of the things that happened qualifying primarily. I think in the race we seem to be able to perform pretty well. If we're there, if we have a car in one piece, but when you get caught up in some wrecks and some different things, it can definitely get a little frustrating. But the qualifying is what has broke our confidence down a little bit, and so hopefully we can qualify a little bit better today.
Let's go to Chase, and then we'll go to Rich. Go ahead, Chase.
Jeff, Chase Wilhelm, PRN. Being a Yankees fan, just want to ask you about your day with Leo at Yankee Stadium yesterday. How was that?
It was unbelievable. I took my daughter when she was around the same age, and it was a really special experience for me and her, and it was a special one for Leo and myself as well. And yeah, there's nothing quite like the whole experience. I'm so blown away with the experience of going to a Yankees game with the new stadium. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And we got on the train and rode the train all the way there, and all the Yankees fans, a few Texas fans too, that were on the train. It was Thursday afternoon, 1:05 game, and I couldn't believe how many people were at this game. It was incredible. And I think for Leo, baseball might not be quite as exciting to him as monster trucks, because I did take him to monster trucks this year too, and he seemed to be in that and not pulling on me, going, okay, I've seen this is cool, but I'm ready to go home. But yeah, it was a great father-son experience, and had a lot of fun doing that.
Over here to gentleman right here, and then we'll go to Claire. Claire, do you have a question? Okay.
Jeff, Lee Howard with WKYT in Lexington.
I'm sorry,
a lot of
Rich.
people have described this track as a lot of character, with referring to the bumps in Turn 3 and things like that. How would you describe this track?
I mean, if you're trying to be kind to the bumps, then you call it character. I don't even see how we make it through a race here from a mechanical standpoint. This place is just so hard on the drive line and the suspension components, shocks and springs, and the loads are just unbelievable. But if you just look at the pure grip level of the racetrack, that part of it I really like. The transitions make this a very tricky track. It's pretty flat. from the back straightaway to turn 3. Plus, there's a huge bump going in there, so it really makes you work hard, and it's hard to get the car working right in every aspect of the track. And the bumps, definitely are one of those things that do challenge, the cars and the setup. So I like the fact that those challenges allow you as a driver to have to search around the racetrack. The car is never going to be perfect, and you're going to slide around, and that seems to suit me a little bit better than some of these smooth, super fast, high grip racetracks that we go to.
Go to Claire, and then we'll go to Rich.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I was thinking about that auto commercial you did where you were incognito. Can you get on the train and go to the Yankees
Pepsi
game?
Max commercial.
It was awesome. That's
Thank
it.
you.
And you were incognito. But can you actually go on the train and take Leo and merge in with the other fans and not be Jeff Gordon, or do you get recognized?
I saw one couple looking at me, but they didn't say anything. Nobody said anything to me. I would say 99% of the people on that train had no idea who I was. At the game, once I got inside, there were, several people that came up to me, really, really kind and everything, but, it wasn't a distraction from me and Leo being able to have a special moment. But we got back on the train, and not one single person, said anything to me. And that, it's one of the things I love about New York. I mean, I go through that on a day-to-day basis up there. When you do get recognized, it's actually, a moment where you're like, wow, I can't believe somebody recognized me in New York City. I did have one kid the other day. I picked up my daughter. She was at this little camp, and we were going back to the apartment, and they now what's real popular is these kids that ride these bikes that can take maybe 2 or 3 people in the back. I can't remember what they call them. I don't think you can dial that up on Uber, but the guy had my hat on, and so I came up to a stop, and he was next to me. And I looked at him, and I thought it was a 24 hat, and I said, "Nice hat." And he looked at me, he said, "Thanks." And then we went up to the next light, and I said, "Do you know why I said nice hat?" He kind of looked at me, and I said, "That's me." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, it is." So I walked right by him, and he didn't know. And that's even if there are fans there, which there are plenty of fans in New York City, a lot of times they just don't expect you to come walking by.
Let's go over here to Rich, and then we'll go to the gentleman from Fox.
Rich Van Wyk, WTHR, Indianapolis. Jeff, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is talking about $40 million worth of improvements to a traditional historic track. You've been there a few times. What would be best to spend that money on for drivers and fans, and what do you think about lights at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
Well, you got to understand from a fan standpoint, I've never, not since I went to an Indy 500 when I was a kid, have I sat in the grandstand. So I think the fans are much more in tune with what's going on from a fan standpoint, where that money would suit their needs. From our standpoint, that track's very, very difficult to get a tire. It's in a very abrasive racetrack, and Goodyear is very challenged with the racetrack. I'm not saying repave, but just wondering how we could make it a little less abrasive. Lights, lights would be cool. Lights are cool everywhere. I love racing under the lights. I don't know what it costs for lights around Indianapolis, but Indianapolis is already, to me, one of the top facilities that we go to. I mean, the garage area is immaculate. They just do everything first class there. You don't even, the way where they locate the tunnels, you don't even feel a bump when you go over them like every other track we go to. You can ride around there and tell them exactly where the tunnel is because there's a huge dip there. You don't get that at Indianapolis. But once you get outside the racetrack and outside the garage area, I really couldn't tell you, accurately where it'd be good to spend some of that money. But we know that our race has had its challenges as far as the crowd. When I first started going to Indianapolis in '94 with the Cup cars, I mean, the people lined up 10 deep around the garage area and filled the grandstands. It was standing room only, and sure would be nice to to know why that hasn't continued and how we get back to that. That'd be awesome, because I love racing there. It's just the history of that place is second to none for me, who went to an Indianapolis 500 as a kid and went to high school around Indiana and always wanted to race at Indy.
Go over here to the left.
Joe Daneman with the Fox up in Cincinnati. If you win here, you have a win at every active track currently in the Sprint Cup Series. Would that be meaningful to you?
Oh my God, that'd be huge. Number one, because this is a very challenging racetrack, not an easy racetrack to win on, and number two is, I don't know what the plan is for adding racetracks in the future, but in the past, every time we knock one off and get close to accomplishing that goal, which I think is would be a pretty awesome thing to accomplish. They'd add another racetrack. So getting a win at Homestead and Phoenix, and getting closer to accomplishing that, and knowing that there's one left and we're running good this weekend, that would be huge. That would be something that I would be very, very proud of.
Let's go to Jim Noble.
Jim Noble, ESPN. It's a long year. You've been racing for 3 months already. You're going to race for 5 more till it's said and done. Over the course of your career, have you ever had a hard time keeping focus through this kind of summer, dog days of summer stretch? And, how much of a challenge is that, 36 weekends a year, to be completely on mentally?
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of like a fine wine. I get better with age, and I feel like that's the same way my season goes. I feel like we get better as the season goes on. Sometimes, especially with a new car, things change over the off season, and I feel like as I get older, a little more set in my ways, it takes me a little bit longer to adapt to changes. And so throughout the season, I feel like I get more and more comfortable and understand what I need, and the team, can help me accomplish that. And so, that's why I think the old point system works so well for me, because I think that, we were able to look at 36 weeks as a total instead of 26 and 10. But I don't know. I feel like one thing I'm very good at is pace, of being able to adjust my schedule, look out throughout the whole year on whether it be sponsor commitments, fan commitments, team commitments, family commitments, and balancing out that very well to maintain a focus, to be strong, the second half of the season and not wear myself out. This year I think a little bit more of a challenge with the testing schedule for the teams. Like this week, for instance, teams got back Monday morning basically, and they're coming here Wednesday afternoon. That to me is tougher on the teams. I feel like it's always been tougher on the teams. As a driver, I feel like I'm able to maintain pretty well.
Maybe take one more question, Jeff Gluck.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. I was wondering about Mark Martin. Obviously, you were teammates with him for a while, and you've been around him for a long time. What is it that he's been able to do where he can adapt to all these different eras? Because obviously, when he started out, it's a completely different sport than it is now. I mean, from what you've seen, how has he been able to do that and stay relevant?
I mean, Mark is a very unique, race car driver. One is I think he's always been one of the most talented race car drivers that there is, and he's driven every kind of race car, on different types of racetracks and been successful. Started at a young age, and so I think he's just tremendously talented. But I think if you look at his the way he's treated his body, it tells you that this guy likes a challenge, and he likes to push himself, and that he's disciplined, and I think that's what gives you longevity in a sport when you've got the talent. He is able to align himself with good quality teams and equipment and people, and then he's able to give results, and I think that's just a reflection on who he is and what kind of race car driver he is.
Jeff, thanks for coming
Thank
in.
you.
Good luck this weekend in Kentucky.
Appreciate it.